Yes, everybody, it's time for another Talking with Topher. This is episode 292. It is November 6th, 2025. And of course, as always, I'm so happy to still be alive. Yes, and now, before we get into anything today, let me get the housekeeping out of the way. Thank you, everybody. Thank you for over 5,500 subscribers. I don't know what's going on, but keep it up because you're the reason I keep coming back week after week. So thank you, everybody, for subscribing. Now, if you're new, popping by, checking out the episode, you got to hit this subscribe button. It's right over here somewhere. It's underneath the screen. Click it. Set the alarms if you want to know when all the new episodes upload to YouTube. You need an opportunity? You want to be on a podcast? Maybe you got a story to tell. talkinwithtopher@gmail.com is the official email of the podcast. All right, send an audio, video, or type it out. You'll find the Linktree link in the description below the video. It has everything TWT. It's just that easy. Of course, you'll find all the links associated with today's episode down there. So go ahead, click it. Click that more button, all right? There's more in there. You need a mailbox? Click the link, all right? Facebook, Instagram, go and get your mailbox today. Cryptid and Kin, YouTube, Instagram, Facebook. Go follow and check out the YouTube videos, all right? Great clothing, awesome stuff. With all that out of the way, let's get into the pod. Social media now is okay with us talking about how bad COVID is, how bad those shots were, how bad the whole situation was. Everything on that is pretty good right now. It's pretty crazy. Wide open. Doctors are allowed to talk again. It's a wild thing. So there's a lot of studies coming out. There's a lot of things being said. And I will say, being one of the first to get this thing, I feel like I get a say in it no matter what, because if I feel a particular way about something that I put in my body, it's my choice to then maybe, let people know how I feel about the situation and what I've done to try and correct it or maybe make sure this doesn't happen to me again. But we're going to go down some rabbit holes today. I'm excited, and let's get into it. So this was August of 2021, and that's why I prefaced everything on the fact that we can talk about this stuff, because the things that were happening and the people that were in place to encourage us to get this thing were sending mixed messages by telling, I don't know, maybe your staff, don't get the shot, but make sure that our platform is advocating for it. Very interesting to me. Why would you do this? And it was less than 2 years, Well, it was like right when it was coming out, right? Because that was about right around 2 years into everything, I do believe. So this would have been right in the beginning of the release. And I think this is the problem with a lot of stuff because, if you are literally doing this, warning your staff not to take the vaccine, yet continue advocating it to the masses. So I think this, to me, is a huge indication of what we were all up against. And I wish I had seen this, I had known about it, because, I do feel as if I got lied to.
I share some caution on this because we just don't know the long-term side effects of basically modifying people's DNA and RNA to directly encode in a person's DNA and RNA, basically the ability to produce those antibodies, and whether that causes other mutations or other risks downstream.
So he makes I don't know if that's a Zoom or what, but he literally tell his staff to be cautious because we're not sure about this thing. right? And I mean, he's telling them this thing could damage you. We're not sure of the side effects. We're not sure of anything. But we're going to keep pushing it on the platform. You know, this is like him saying that the FBI made him, you know, take certain things down. Or who is he working for, right? The people that silence you are the people you work for. Remember that. So if somebody can silence somebody, they must be invested in them. So was Pfizer or Moderna or whoever their shot was being pushed at that time, they were controlling that narrative by giving him money, right? So Facebook is completely manipulated by everything that is giving it money. I think this is the biggest problem we have, right? These whatever these things, the PACs that politicians get and the money that they receive jeopardizes the way that they act as politicians. This happens everywhere. Every inch of everything that we have has investors and stockholders and boardrooms and people that are in charge of the simple fact that they're giving money to these corporations, these businesses, and then if the business wants to make a good choice or do something positive, like he could have sent that to the masses, right? He could have sent that warning to the masses, and that would have been looked at as a really, really positive thing. Now, it would have been terrible for him, right? It would have been terrible for him. But think of the positive outcome he would have had today, right? I wouldn't be looking at him as a negative thing right now if you had released that to the masses. Like, this is where we need to begin. This is where we need to start, right? Let's start changing this. Stop allowing, these people to invest money into your corporation or business or platform, and then they're allowed to change it because why? Because they have all the money. I understand that it takes money to do things, but sometimes isn't it better to do things without that type of leverage over you? And I think a lot of them think that the leverage over them is manageable. I do. I think they talk to themselves in the mirror and they go, if I do this, we can go much further, but I know it's going to be looked at as like a bad thing. But at the end of the day, I want to bring this company to another level and I want to do these things. And all of that gets changed because then that person goes, well, no, you can't do that now. I'm giving you the money. Now you got to speak for me. And I want this, this, and this. And he found out some information and he was like, oh shit, I'm going to warn my staff. But unfortunately, I laid down with this company, this beast, and now I have to put this out on the platform. That's pretty terrible, isn't it? And that's how our banks run. That's how everything runs. I don't even need to go down a list. It's literally everything. From our politicians, our government, to the CIA, the military, everybody is run by the biggest loner. Whoever has the most money. So, should we allow this today? Should we have to keep looking back at things that were done that now we're like, oh, this was wrong? why can't they just do the right thing the first time? I'll tell you why. Because that would benefit us. So it can't happen. All right, let's stop being long in the tooth. Let's keep going. So this show is eventually canceled. Conspiracy Theory with Jesse Ventura. 3 seasons from December 2nd, 2009 to December 17th of 2012. Now, this is very interesting. Let's listen.
Left the United States of America.
Yes, sir, I have.
Why?
I do not feel safe living in the United
Really?
States.
Do you want to come in and sit down?
No, sir, I'd rather not.
You'd rather just be here so you can make a fast exit if you have
As soon as you and I finish,
You're out
I'm
here.
leaving the country again. Why? Because in a very short time, not today, not tomorrow, but very soon, we'll be facing compulsory vaccination under the mistaken term of voluntary vaccination.
What is it about these vaccinations? You think that they're bad?
Well, first of all, let's start with the fact that the World Health Organization has decided that we have 90% too many people. The World Health Organization has been working since 1974 on vaccines to create permanent sterility.
Doctor, the response is going to be, you're crazy. How can you say this stuff?
They will induce a pandemic. You're going to get the flu. Everybody around us is going to get the flu. Then the United States government, based on their statements that they've already made, will say, oh my, we have a pandemic. What that means is a Holocaust, a genocidal Holocaust. Men and women will sicken and die, and those who survive will be infertile. Let me tell you a story.
Holy
In
shit.
2003, I had a patient in my drug-free medical practice who was a head of state. And one day she said, you know, it's almost time for the great culling to begin.
The what?
That's what I said. The what? She said the great culling, C-U-L-L-I-N-G, when you thin the herd. I said, what are you talking about? She said, it's almost time for the useless eaters to be culled. And she said, those are the people who are consuming our non-renewable natural resources. I said, who are the people who make
The
this
chosen
decision?
few.
She said, we, the aristocrats.
This person you talk to, you're bound because you're a physician and
Correct.
there's the relationship that you can't talk. Is this person a member of the Bilderbergs?
She is not Queen Beatrice. She is not the Queen of England. She is not Henry Kissinger. But she certainly presented herself as a member of that power elite, and she certainly was a head of state.
What the fuck did I just watch? Dude. Okay, so they didn't say whether or not this episode aired in 2009 or by the end of the season in 2012, end of its life or show's life, its cancellation, whatever. So it didn't say whether or not this was in 2009 from the first season or December 17th, 2012 or sometime in 2012 from the third season. But did that not give you chills? That's absolutely insane. Is that exactly what we're dealing with right now? So 7 years after the end of this show, COVID. So this has been the play forever. I still want to know why these people think that that the resources that we're consuming are going to dry up. I think that makes them crazy, whoever them are, the aristocrats, right? But I mean, like I said, I don't think oil is going to dry up. I think it's going to be there forever. I just don't. I think it's a lie to extract more money from us. Just like, oh, I don't know, our electric bills going up because of data centers sucking up the electricity, and now we have to pay for it. I am just beyond disgusted about that, because no, if your data center is sucking up all the electricity, then you fucking pay for it. It's your data center. Like, why? And everybody's going through hikes right now. I think Eversource just did a $3 increase across the board for nothing. They haven't done anything. Like, I understand the uptick for my waste and water because they are literally burrowing a tunnel underneath the city right now, or for some massive draining system. For our water table that is basically dried out now. So I don't even know if that was worth it. But I guess they're drilling it and they're doing it. And they're fixing all of our gas and water lines. So I kind of understand that. But why are you hiking the electricity just before the winter? You know what I mean? I think it has something to do with the way it always works. They benefit and they never lose, right? And if they put out money, telephone poles down, got to repair this, got to do this, and then they take the bill. They take the bill from all of their services that they had to do to maintain. And they go, man, that just cost us $50 million. Well, if I charge every customer $3 forever, I make that $50 million back plus $50 million every year. So let's up everybody $3 and we don't lose anything. It's constant. They never lose, right? They can't lose. They cannot drop in sales. They can't lose profit. CEOs and all the bigwigs need to have bonuses. What is that? Is that not the problem? They just need all the money, right? They need all the money. So, okay. We can't really say we're going to quit now, right? Because if you quit, good. I'm so glad you quit. Because now I can just order robots. So, we as people are in real big trouble right now. I think we've lost a lot of our leverage. And unfortunately, this stuff coming from the past is quite scary. It's quite scary. So Dr. Charles Hoffitt of Pfizer designed their vaccine to circulate through the entire body, targeting the brain, targeting the heart, targeting reproductive organs, and targeting reproductive organs, which led us to infertility. Everything that this woman just said happened. How many people died? How many people after the vaccine died even more? How many people right now lost babies and cannot have babies because of this thing? It's a lot. It's a lot. How many people have died of heart disease? How many people have had brain aneurysms since this? Dude, this is so messed up, man. It's so messed up because this is the stuff that's coming out now. Now that it's okay. We've been talking about this for years now. But now it's okay, everybody. Now it's okay to say these things. Here we go.
I was fired after 31 years as an emergency room physician with not one single patient complaint against me in those 31 years. I was fired for saying that somebody who had natural immunity didn't need to be vaccinated against a disease to which they were already immune.
Yep.
Fortunately, I still had my medical license, even though I'd lost a significant part, at least 50% of my income, and I couldn't work as an emergency room doctor anymore. I still had my private practice. So when I discovered from the biodistribution studies that Pfizer had hidden that we knew that these vaccines go around your entire body. They do not just stay in your arm. Pfizer's biodistribution studies on the lipid nanoparticles show that they literally take those messenger RNA strands into every part of your body. They go into your brain and your lungs and your heart and your liver and your reproductive organs and your bone marrow and everywhere. Which is, by the way, why these COVID shots have caused a greater array of side effects than any other medical treatment in history. Because this toxic spike protein ends up in literally every part of your body.
Yep. Every part of your body, everybody. Every single part of it. This thing was aggressive. And I don't know if there's any real way to get it out of your system. Like I said, there are supplements out there by all kinds of different people. I would be very wary and make sure you do all of the research that you can on anything before you go and put it into your body. But there are spike detoxes out there. Also, keep in mind that fasting can help get rid of toxins in your body. I would do at least a 3 to 5 day water fast if you wanted to see if you could get anything out of your body that way. I will say that after I got the shots, I think I fasted for 5 days, aggressively, for 4 times within the first 2 years of having my 2 shots. So I was working really hard to fixing the mistake that I had made. Supposedly that may have helped me, but it's a possibility that it could have buried itself in something and I couldn't get it out. So it could still be there. I think we need tests for this stuff. I think we need to figure out what is inside of our body still. And the only way to do that is to probably go talk to the doctor and see if they've actually come up with a test for the spike protein. I don't think they have, and I don't think they want to. Somebody out there has got to have a test for it. Maybe I don't have to go to my doctor. Maybe I gotta go to the internet, everybody. Maybe we gotta do it through the internet. So, Fauci is a terrible person. I think he was terrible during COVID. I just never really cared for Fauci. Didn't think he was this great thing. But a lot of people during the AIDS pandemic thought that he was doing what needed to be done. Well, some light is being shed on what was done during AIDS, and it's just as dark as COVID. So most people think Dr. Anthony Fauci's story starts mishandling COVID. But the darkest part of his career happened long before. As head of the NIAID, he used HIV-positive foster kids for horrific experiments. This is part of the record most people have never heard about. Like, he did some terrible studies with children and these medications and these vaccinations. And the first thing that they came out with for AIDS was literally killing them faster. And it took actual doctors to figure this out as people were rapidly diminishing, and they sounded the alarms, and that's when they halted it. But Fauci was pushing it, which I believe was on purpose. Because, look, I don't know if this is 100% true, so this is for entertainment purposes only. AIDS was a weapon. It was a weapon to wipe out gays. When they started looking into ways to save them, notice how the first drug they came out with annihilated them. Then we found another drug that was reducing it. And then when we realized that HIV could be spread amongst heterosexuals, right? Because if a man has sex with a man and then goes back to his wife, she gets AIDS, right? So when we found out that could happen, because I believe that they thought it was going to stay within that community, which is kind of where monkeypox came from, right? I think that's another one. I think a lot of these things are weapons. And that's for me. That's for me. These are my little thoughts. These are my little Easter eggs for you. But it's all for entertainment, okay? I'm not saying that it was. But if it was, right? Ticks have Lyme disease. Lyme disease is a weapon. It was designed. Ticks didn't naturally have Lyme disease, right? The video before this actually said that once you got COVID, you were good from COVID. Just like the flu, right? And I've already said how backwards the flu vaccine is. So it was just a really aggressive flu. But you're going to tell me it wasn't manipulated in that lab? It wasn't turned up a little bit? It wasn't something else made by man? And it was deliberate? You can't tell me that it wasn't deliberate, because I think almost everything that happens today is deliberate. There's a reason behind it. There's a puppet master. There's a reason why. And it always goes back to the same thing. Thinning out the herd. Killing off the people that are sucking up their resources that could dry out. What? It's crazy to me. It's crazy to me. No, what they've done is, let's be real about this real quick. What they've done is they've made it so that they've sucked up all this money, right? And they don't want to give it back. So now all the people that are struggling and having a hard life, well, they don't want to look at that. So we need to kill all them. We need to kill, there's not enough money for them. So we need to kill all them. And now they're all gone. And now the people that have a little bit of money, right? Because we left them a little bit of money. They can do some stuff. They'll be fine. All them, they're fucked. They can't do anything. We got to get rid of that. They'll be okay. And then the people that are getting closer to us, we're going to have to do something. Push them back. Get them closer to their fellow neighbors that are, scraping by, and they're okay, though. They're not in debt. We need to get rid of all the debt. Let's get rid of that. We can write that debt off. It's fine. We get rid of that. I keep this. We push them back, and we keep them here. Now, release the virus. I mean, dude, has it not felt like the stranglehold on just getting by today has gotten tighter? And I think that like 40% of Americans are putting everything on credit card just to make it by today. So when I talk about these things in this way, I understand I have to add in that it's all for entertainment purposes only, of course. But doesn't it feel like there's a little something there that really, really kind of like, I mean, what if, But let's get into this, because this guy says the same thing. And this is what I'm talking about right here.
Talking about taking the Earth's population from 8 billion people to 500 million. It was on the Georgia Guidestones. All these people in the World Economic Forum talk about it openly, and you're too busy scrolling through the gram to take it serious. These people intend to do this. This is what communists do. Most people out here are totally clueless as to what this is all about. These people are trying to fucking remove you from the planet. That's what's happening here.
I don't know about you, but imagine 8 billion people on the planet knocked down to 500 million. 500 million? They don't even want a billion on the planet. I mean, could that be done? Are we in the middle of the process right now? I'll tell you this much, though. If Iran and what's that other place there? Pakistan? If they're the two smallest, I might be wrong, but out there, they're the two smallest nuclear powers out there. If they were to have a nuclear war, within 2 weeks, the entire planet would be covered and we would all perish. So think about that. We don't even have to get into war with Russia or China or any of the other situations we've talked about on this podcast. Like, literally, two countries on the opposite side of the planet could get into a nuclear war, and it could be devastation. Well, devastation, right? Devastation. Because it's not this way. It's not. We're not going to have devastation. We're going to have devastation. Got it? That would bring us down to 500 million. So why don't we encourage them to have a nuclear war, and then we don't have to blame Russia, we don't have to blame the US. We don't get blamed, guys. They get blamed again. But that would definitely bring us down to 500 million. Easy. So I'm not saying that that's true either. Of course, entertainment purposes only, but wouldn't that be a great way to just wipe your hands of it? And then all you have to do is like drop whatever you need to drop over there, let them go to it, and then you just go underneath into your bunker, and boom. 2 weeks later, the only people that survived made it underground or far enough away or could hunker through, 2.5 to 5 years of darkness and cold before something was to break through and we would see the light. And never mind, I think I've said this before, but I think that fallout is extremely heavy and it can collapse houses. I don't know if that's the same for an atomic bomb as it would be from like the fire. But if it's ash falling from the sky, ash is ash, and ash is heavy. So I'm not sure if dwellings would collapse the same way, but food's going to be scarce. Everything's going to be really hard to get your hands on. And you have to make it 2.5 to 5 years. I don't even know most people that can make it 5 days without food. So I'll tell you this much. I'll make it for 5 days. Anything past that's going to be a little bit of a challenge for sure. But as long as I have some type of water or something, I might be able to make it like 30 days without food before I kill myself. I mean, what are you going to do at that point? You're literally going to be like malnourished. You know what I mean? So you're going to be struggling. And if you made it 30 days, how many people around you did not make it that far? Right? So you might be by yourself at that point. I mean, that could be a really, really scary time. So, look, I still think, like, there's something here to think about. I just don't know if, they really do want to do this. But it comes up over and over again, doesn't it? Thinning out. Or what did that woman say? Culling. So, BlackRock CEO, depopulation is a good thing because now we have AI to do all of your jobs. Dude, look at this, man. It just keeps coming up. It keeps coming up. It doesn't matter if they just want to wipe us off the face of the planet or, They need somebody to do the jobs because, like I said, we don't have that leverage anymore, people. We don't have it.
I could argue in the developed countries, the big winners are countries that have shrinking populations. Okay, that's something that most people never talked about. You know, we always used to think shrinking population is a cause for negative growth. But in my conversations with the leadership of these large developed countries that have xenophobic immigration policies, they don't allow anybody to come in, shrinking unemployment, shrinking demographics, these countries will rapidly develop robotics and AI and technology.
Wait a minute. He said shrinking population and then changed that to tricky demographic. What? How do you... Wait a minute. He's like shrinking unemployment. Oh, no. Tricky demographic. Dude, I'm just... You know what? I'll be right back. All right, and I'm back. And let's get back into this. This is crazy, everybody. I am telling you, man, these people have got something else in store for all of us. Let's continue with this.
And if the promise, I didn't say it's going to happen, but if the promise of all that transforms productivity, which most of us think it will, we'll be able to elevate the standard of living of countries and the standard of living of individuals, even with shrinking populations. And so the paradigm of negative population growth is going to be changing. And the social problems that one will have in substituting humans for machines is going to be far easier in those countries that have declining populations. And so for those countries that have rising populations, the answer will be education, and so rapidly develop. You know, for those countries that do not have a foundation of rule of law or education, they're going to be left. That's where the divide's going to get more and more extreme. And unfortunately,
so shrinking populations are the ones that are going to make it, man. Those are the ones that are going to strive, because with a shrinking population, you can what? You can do more. You can have AI robots because you don't have people. So you don't have people, so you can have more technology, and that will actually increase. Dude, we're doomed. We're doomed. We're doomed to ourselves. We're doomed to ourselves, I believe. These guys are all crazy. They're all crazy. But see, the depopulation is part of their vocabulary. Like on the regular. It's terrible, everybody. Now, we're talking about the vaccine. We're talking about depopulation. We're talking about being scammed, people. Basically, the biggest scam to ever happen to us. To all of us. And it didn't just take our money. It took a lot of lives with it. This right here, mind-blowing, everybody. Mind-blowing.
Most of you don't know that coronavirus as a model of a pathogen was isolated in 1965. Coronavirus was identified in 1965 as one of the first infectious replicatable viral models that could be used to modify a series of other experiences of the human condition. It was isolated once upon a time associated with the common cold. But what's particularly interesting about its isolation in 1965 was that it was immediately identified as a pathogen that could be used and modified for a whole host of reasons. And you heard me correctly, that was 1965. And by the way, these slides are public domain. You're welcome to look at every single reference. Every comment that I made is based on published material, so do make sure that you look at those references. But in 1966, the very first COV, coronavirus model was used as a transatlantic biological experiment in human manipulation. And you heard the date, 1966. I hope you're getting the point of what I'm saying.
Absolutely.
This is not an overnight thing. This is actually something that's been long in the making. A year before I was born, we had the first transatlantic coronavirus data sharing experiment between the United States and the United Kingdom. And in 1967, the year I was born, we did the first human trials on inoculating people with modified coronavirus. Isn't that amazing? 56 years ago, the overnight success of a pathogen that's been 56 years in engineering. And I want that to chill with all of you. Where were we when we actually allowed, in violation of biological and chemical weapons treaties, where were we as a human civilization when we thought it was an acceptable thing to do to take a pathogen for the United States and infect the world with it? Where was that conversation? And what should have been that conversation in 1967? That conversation wasn't had. Ironically, the common cold was turned into a chimera in the 1970s. And in 1975, 1976, and 1977, we started figuring out how to modify coronavirus by putting it into different animals, pigs and dogs. And not surprisingly, by the time we got to 1990, we found out that coronavirus as an infectious agent was an industrial problem for two primary industries, the industries of dogs and pigs. Dog breeders and pigs found that coronavirus created gastrointestinal problems, and that became the basis for Pfizer's first spike protein vaccine patent, filed, are you ready for this, in 1990.
What?
Did you hear what I just said? 1990. Operation Warp Speed? I'm sorry. Where's the warp and the speed? Pfizer, 1990, the very first spike protein vaccine for coronavirus. Oh, isn't that fascinating? Shit. Isn't it fascinating that we were told that, well, the spike protein is a new thing. We just found out that that's the problem. No. As a matter of fact, we didn't just find out it was not just now the problem. We found that out in 1990 and filed the first patents on vaccines in 1990 for the spike protein of coronavirus. And who would have thought? Pfizer. Clearly the innocent organization that does nothing but promote human health. Clearly Pfizer. The organization that has not bought the votes in this chamber and in every chamber of every government around the world. Not that Pfizer. Certainly they wouldn't have had anything to do with this. But oh yes, they did. And in 1990, they found out that there was a problem with vaccines. They didn't work. You know why they didn't work? It turns out that coronavirus is a very malleable model. It transforms and it changes and it mutates over time. As a matter of fact, every publication on vaccines for coronavirus from 1990 until 2018, every single publication concluded that coronavirus escapes the vaccine impulse because it modifies and mutates too quickly for vaccines to be effective. And since 1990 to 2018, that is the published science, ladies and gentlemen. That's following the science. Following the science is their own indictment of their own programs that said it doesn't work. Wow. And there are thousands of publications to that effect, not a few hundred. And not paid for by pharmaceutical companies. These are publications that are independent scientific research that shows unequivocally, including efforts of the chimera modifications made by Ralph Baric in the University of North Carolina, Chapel Hill. All of them show vaccines do not work on coronavirus. That's the science. And that science has never been disputed. Wow. But then we had an interesting development in 2002, and this date is most important. Because in 2002, the University of North Carolina, Chapel Hill patented, and I quote, an infectious replication defective clone of coronavirus. Listen to those words, infectious replication defective. What does that phrase actually mean? For those of you not familiar with language, let me unpack it for you. Infectious replication defective means a weapon. It means something meant to target an individual, but not have collateral damage to other individuals. That's what infectious replication defective means. And that patent was filed in 2002 on work funded by NIAID's Anthony Fauci from 1999 to 2002. And that work, patented at the University of North Carolina, Chapel Hill, mysteriously preceded SARS 1.0 by a year. Dave, are you suggesting that SARS 1.0 wasn't from a wet market in Wuhan? Are you suggesting it might have come from a laboratory in the University of North Carolina, Chapel Hill? No, I'm not suggesting it. I'm telling you that's the facts. We engineered SARS. SARS is not a naturally occurring phenomenon. The naturally occurring phenomenon is called the common cold. It's called influenza-like illness. It's called gastroenteritis. That's the naturally occurring coronavirus. SARS is the research developed by humans weaponizing a life system model to actually attack human beings. And they patented it in 2002.
Dude. Wow. Wow. Wow, everybody. That was mind-blowing. And I know it said it under it. I can't help but, I mean, this is crazy. So since 1990, so there was no Operation Warp Speed. They've literally been designing this thing since the 90s, so over 30 years. And then they patented SARS in 2002, which is developed by them. All of this time, it's documented that no vaccine is going to work because it's too rapidly changing, which we all witnessed, the different variations, which is exactly why you can't catch the flu either, because it's always changing. And the only thing that they have to go off of is last year. So I don't think that the flu vaccine is very effective either. You're just, I don't know, injecting yourself with shit that could make you sick, because the one that you're going to catch out there is not the one that you're putting in your body. So why even bother? But man, over 30 years ago, they developed it. It is a weapon, everybody. They were hoping it would attack one person, but not attack the person next to them. What did I tell you, dude? I'm not wrong about this. I'm not. No. Nope. Because why? Because this is the story behind everything. They turn everything into a weapon. They turn the weather into a weapon. They turn the bugs into the weapon. They turn the things that we eat into weapons. They turn the things that make us sick into weapons. They literally love making weapons. Everybody makes weapons, everybody. So as long as everybody's making weapons, we're all in trouble. But that was mind-blowing, dude. And I'm not just saying it because it's written underneath it. That was crazy. Now, here's some more stuff on these vaccines, dude. I'm telling you, don't do it. Don't do it anymore. Stop doing it. Check this out. This is wild.
I'm saying these things out of love for my fellow humans.
Did she say
this
this
shot
shit?
Is not medicine. It is an intro-body nano network administered through. What they're finding in people are not blood clots. It is self-assembling, self-replicating nanotechnology. Lipid nanoparticles that have been modified on a molecular level, wrapped in pegylation, polyethylene glycol, one of the components that can be used to make hydrogel. The lipid particles are modified to be more sensitive to heat and frequency. When placed in the human body, they become excited from the heat. In that excitement, they vibrate. With that excitement, magnetofection is created, and the particles slowly drift towards each other, hence self-assembling. This interbody nano network is the first step to make the human body a device linked into the Internet of Bodies. The shot also changes the human DNA, rendering the person a GMO owned by a corporation. This allows for the system to freely harvest psychological, biological, genetic, and physiological data from the individual without their knowledge or permission. They are now products owned by the corporation that gave them the poke. At the top of all of those corporations is BlackRock and Vanguard.
Yeah, of course they are.
Information is now the new gold, and it will be the foundation for the new financial system coming, the CBDC. The next step is a quantum dot tattoo that will slowly release quantum microdots, chips, into the human body, individualizing and authenticating all data for each individual. This is part of a transhuman agenda being initiated upon the population without their knowledge by global elitists working primarily through the WEF, the WHO, the IMF, and other global control systems that are not any part of one government. This technology will link every human being into the Internet of Bodies. It is the foundation for a global CBDC that will be controlled with quantum systems. This technology has the capacity to fully surveil and control every individual.
Quantum dot tattoo patent 060660. Is that real? Your God gives free will is, I don't know, he's standing in front of it. Financial system, D-Wave, quantum system, evolve. Dude. Klaus Schwab. Dude. Terrible, guys. This is what I'm talking about. We were talking about, I think it was a couple weeks ago, maybe now, where we're talking about digital currency taking over and how dangerous this is going to be. Look, I don't know about you, but I'm just going to hopefully make a boatload of money off of crypto and cash out. But I don't think digital currency is the way to go, but it seems to be the way that they want it to go. And we all know what happens when they want something. It's not the thing. It's not the thing we want. It's what they want. They're making us believe that we want it. I don't know too much about this nanoparticle, whatever thing happening. I'm not sure. I guess is a way to tell. I did do it. I didn't pick up any signal off my body. So yeah, take the nanoparticles, with a grain of salt there. But I do believe that there's something more to all of this. I mean, we've talked about so many different things, the different frequencies, the computer chips inside of you, supposedly. But I do believe there is some truth to this because it does lead you down the path towards control in digital currency. Could the shot have been, well, if it doesn't kill them, then now we have a way to control them? And are they really getting some data from my body right now? Man, they must be like so upset that like I'm not completely dying or something. Like I think like if that was to be true, there'd be a computer board, somebody be sitting at it, it would have all the names, and you would just see like lots of reds and yellows and maybe a couple greens within there, and that's like how healthy the person is. Like I'm not imagining anything more than that at the moment in time, but the technology could prove me wrong. But if they were to nanoparticle and do and look and take then that's what I'm looking at. And they're looking at all the people that are turning red, and they're like, yeah, it's working. You know what I mean? They don't want to see people turning from yellow to green, because that means you're getting healthy or getting away. You know what I mean? But I don't know. Could this be true? I do believe so. I do believe there's some truth to this, because why? Because the control over the population, the world, and getting us to fold and do what they want, and that holds enough truth for me to believe that there is something more to what we've all been told. So this is what's being found inside of people who have been, what does she call it? Poked. And there's no blood or anything. I don't think this is too gory or whatnot. It's just a sample on a board, and they're going to look at it through a microscope.
In order to provide contrast, and then I'm just washing it with ethyl alcohol. And once this is done, we're going to go ahead and place it under the microscope.
And that's to get the contrast, so it's just more easily viewable under the microscope, right?
Exactly. Again, kind of standard staining techniques, but usually used for microbiology. But we're just using it for these tissue samples here. Now I'm going to flatten this out with another slide, because it's a little too tall. It's pretty, chunky here.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm just going to kind of flatten it out a little bit. I don't know if you can see that.
Yeah.
Now we're going to go ahead and place this under the microscope in real time. Again, because the reason I'm doing this is I don't want anybody to think that any of this is faked or anything like that.
Right, doing the whole thing live. My God.
Yeah. So. Yeah.
Oof.
Let me get that graphic right there.
No, but look, this is what's in people's body. This is what's being removed from people's damaged hearts, and you can see why. I mean, my God. For the radio viewers, so I don't even know how to describe it. You got to just see the image.
Go back to the microscope image, if you would, please. Yeah. Help describe this for the radio viewers, but we're going to start zooming in on this, and we're going to get a lot more contrast and information. I have to refocus.
If I was to describe it for all of you out there, it looks like ramen noodles. It looks like noodles. Microscopic, tiny noodles that block your heart and arteries.
We move. But what I want you to notice about this, and again, this is coming out of people who were formerly alive. People are walking around with these things growing inside their arteries and blood vessels, okay? These are massive. These are not the size of just one protein. These are like billions of proteins, and these are strands. In fact, I want to show you something. Let me zoom out. I want to show you something that's just going to blow your mind. If I grab this with the forceps here, you can see that on screen, and I start to pull. I want to show you how much I can pull and how strong these are before this breaks.
Oh, wow.
You see how they are fibrous and they are strong. They're like rubber bands.
Right, and it looks like it has the consistency of, and I hate to even put it this, but it looks like some like raw calamari. I mean, it looks like some sort of rubbery seafood.
Yep.
But not.
I guess that's a better way to describe it. I don't think of seafood because I don't like seafood, so I don't eat it. But yeah, I guess it could be like a calamari. It looks more like a thin noodle to me. But I mean, he was pulling on it, and that thing stretched out, a couple centimeters before it snapped, which I don't know if you understand what a couple centimeters is, but that is that's giant inside of our bodies. I have I think I talked about it once or twice, my lump, and that is 2 centimeters long by 1.5 centimeters wide. And I mean, it's not like the biggest lump on my body, but man, when you start saying centimeters and I can see it, like, you know what I mean? Like, that's worrisome. That's worrisome, everybody. That is just terrible. And these are the things that I have been freaking out about for years now, wondering whether or not I actually got this shit out of my body. We're talking about these things being in people, right? And this is something that has come up many times now. I've definitely put it on here. I've had to take it down. I've had to pull it out of podcasts. YouTube wouldn't put it up. But I've had these things on the podcast now for a couple years, and I've been really worried about them. I mean, this is a continuation of basically the same thing, but this is as of September 30th to this 2025, everybody. Okay, so this stuff is just doing terrible things to us. And I believe this is why we are seeing so many young people with massive amounts of cancer, why we're seeing so many people under the age of 50 to even under the age of 60 dying of massive heart attacks now. These things are correlated. I truthfully do believe it. And since I put myself in the position to take 2 of these in the beginning, I feel like I'm not in the wrong for telling you that this could be a possibility for all of us, including myself, right? Why am I not allowed to express my fears? Which I think we should be allowed to express our fears, but just know that they're my fears. You don't have to have these fears, but maybe you're not thinking about this, right? Until now. But look at this too. It's just, man, it bugs me. It bugs me a ton, everybody. This is creepy. I mean, it looks like an alien thing. It looks like an alien thing. It does not look like a real thing.
September the 30th, 2024.
Oh, it's 2024. I apologize.
Here are 7 different people represented in these test tubes. And this is clinical waste that I'm about to dispose of. But these are 7 different people who came in to us and were embalmed. And during that process, this spilled out of their arteries onto our embalmment table tray, was kept and I'm documenting it now before disposing of this clinical waste to prove to people that this is coming out of deceased vaccine recipients. Each one represents a person murdered by the state who will never see justice unless...
Dude, this one right here, I'm going to stop it right there because it's basically over. And nobody will get any justice because, why? Because in the beginning, they had already said, well, if anything happens, we're not liable. This is emergency. We have to do this. We have to do this. And if you get injured, we're not liable. Everybody's injured. Literally every single person that has taken this thing is injured. So why am I not going to think that I'm also injured? I just don't know yet, right? I haven't reached that age bracket yet. Maybe fasting, nicotine, and all the things that I've been doing, keeping active and just being a healthy individual and not feeding myself a ton of garbage all the time. Maybe I don't have as much as the next person. Maybe I'm one of the, the 7 people that has a little bit in there. But I don't think I got away scot-free, and I don't believe I'm not going to have complications later. But God damn it, they wrote their way out of this, didn't they? They're not liable. This is so wrong. Our government needs to pay all of us for the damages, and they need to destroy these companies for standing behind something that was never going to help us in the first place. All right, so this one here, dude, this is going to show you something that I found a little turning of the stomach, but I don't know if this just happened. It says it was October 16th of 2025. Now, if you know anything that's going on today, the ceasefire supposedly is in place right now. So, it's October 19th. So, this was only 3 days ago after the ceasefire. I know this is coming out November 6th. That's the way this game works. The IDF kill an innocent rescue live on air. The media will never show you this. The IDF is a terrorist organization, like I've been saying. I think this is so disturbing. And this is the way of the world now. We get to see this shit live. And it's crazy to see it. And then these assholes turn around and they're like, no, man, no, we didn't do it. Well, they didn't do it. We're still ceasefiring. We're still ceasefiring. Bullshit. They're gonna pull something else too. But watch this. This is insane, everybody.
لا حصل الآن خليك يا الله راح الدفاع المدني قتلوا الناس راح الدفاع المدني قتلوا الناس استهداف كبير الآن.
So unfortunately, I have no idea what they're saying, but I'm sure it's not good. We're supposed to be in the middle of a ceasefire, right? They're not supposed to be bombing. They're not supposed to be blowing people up. These people are supposedly supposed to feel comfortable coming back into this area. They're looking for, I don't know what they're looking for. If they're still looking for survivors, or maybe they were, it looked like they were trying to flag somebody over because it looked like somebody was hurt and they were trying to get them out of there. At the end of the day, dude, I have no idea what is actually going on in this video at this time, but I do know that they are supposed to be in the middle of a ceasefire and these people are not supposed to be fired upon. So what are we doing? What is happening? Are they still going to continue it? Is Netanyahu going to be a fucking asshole about this and just start bombing them again? Because at the end of the day, anybody there is Hamas, right? They're all Hamas. We all Hamas, right? And then I think I saw something where Hamas supposedly was going to attack Palestinians. I thought the Palestinians were Hamas. Isn't that what they've been saying? Stand with Palestine, right? So why would Hamas attack Palestinians? Are Palestinians different than Hamas? And is Israel attacking Hamas only, which just happen to be Palestinians? I don't know, dude. I don't know. All of it's gross. It needs to stop. It needs to stop. We're watching a genocide. We're watching people get wiped off of the face of the planet. There's something more to this, right? And I think I went over it on episode 290 where, Trump Gaza, like, there's more to this, and I feel like they are going to blow up by now. Maybe the ceasefire's over. Like, you know what I mean? I don't even think we made it to November 6th, so we'll see what happens. But we also need to take a look at what's going on with all the farmers, and look at what's going on with the soil and where our food is coming from, because a lot of them are having a ton of trouble with their soil, their seeds, and their crops. And the more that they can't grow, the less we have, and then it makes everything more difficult, and it drives up the prices of everything, right? So if certain things are not growing anymore because the soil is so loaded with, I think, aluminum, then we are going to have even a bigger issue because we're not going to be able to grow anything. So I guess at the end of the day, we wouldn't have to worry about a nuclear holocaust because we're not going to be able to grow anything in our soil anyways. And why? Probably because of all the seeding that we do. But here, let's listen to this farmer tell us what's going on.
I've got to show you guys something. This is traditional sweet corn. Now, what's really wild about this is not what we used to call our heirloom seeds. This is just our regular sweet corn that you buy off the shelf. This is GMO corn. Now, we grow this as our field corn. And the reason I want to show you this is I'm going to show you two things. This is heirloom corn. Now, we don't weed it. Normally every year, this corn has come up and done really good for the last 10 years. Same seed, so I've grown it over and over, and we rotate our crops. But also, you look at the sunflowers. Once you look at them sunflowers, the sun, I can't see it. Well, the sun basically is right there, and they've got the flowers have turned away from the sun. This is not something.
What?
Obviously, if you look down this, that's our garden.
Huh.
We grow over an acre worth of just garden. So what I'm trying to get at is something's not right. There's two things that ain't right. The amount of aluminum in our soil now is 5 times to 10 times higher than it was even last year.
That's from seeding.
Let me show you something else. Now that sweet corn is bought, like I said, from the store, so it's not an heirloom seed. It's supposed to be an all-natural seed. It's non-genetically GMO, but I'm starting to doubt it. However, these are cucumber plants. Now, traditionally, those cucumbers, I'd have so many. After putting them on the stand, we'd be giving them away, giving them to food pantries. And our corn, you know, the heirloom corn, we'd be giving it away. Our garden this year has suffered the worst. It's not due for not water. These are some of our hot pepper plants. Normally, these plants, I would have so many of these hot peppers that you wouldn't be able, I wouldn't be, like I said, I couldn't sell enough of them. We'd be giving them away. And hopefully we have a better garden next year. So we still got enough that we're going to be able to maintain costs, operational costs. We still have our vegetable stand. It's just not booming like it usually is.
Which is so sad. It's just so sad. And my dad's garden was the same this year. Look, if we're not looking at the seeding, I mean, where's the aluminum coming from, everybody? Wait a minute. Didn't they say if they misted aluminum into the sky, it would help with rain? Weird. Weird how something that they're spraying in the sky is now embedded in the soil. Why would that happen? It doesn't just stay in the sky? Oh, right. Because if you make it rain, then it brings it down and it puts it in the soil. Oh, weird. Weird. I don't know. Must be your fault. Because it's definitely not their fault. What they're doing doesn't hurt anything. Right? This is just another example of how they have broken the system and they just expect us to deal with it. It's insane to me, everybody. It's insane to me that this is happening across the board. Now, this is just funny. To me, I think this is fake as fuck, everybody. But I'm not going to not play it because it's about farmers and they ran into something creepy. Now, I don't know if these are actual monsters or if someone made some dogs look really weird on the camera, which I found out you can do very easily through AI. I took a still picture of my wife, made it dance, and I took my tie and I had it untie itself and choke me out and kill me. Pretty fucking wild, dude. And it looked relatively real. So you can do whatever you want. But I thought this was super creepy and I wanted to show it to you because, I mean, if it was real and we are in a different country, this would be something wild to see. Look at them. Like, it's super creepy and I want it to be real, but I'm pretty sure it's not. But I mean, that's also like, it looked like a buggy and they were in a desert area. So, I mean, it's supposedly it's a farmer. So I'm not sure what part of the farm would be looking like that unless they were like turning soil or something that morning. But man, if those were actual creepy beings, wouldn't that be something? I mean, what was it? In Pakistan or Iran, of course, you had the Nephilim. And then, of course, you had soldiers tell you about a cave where a giant came out and ripped a couple soldiers apart. That story has actually been collaborated a couple times now for me. So that one I truthfully believe as well. But I don't know. This could be something, but it may be nothing. You never know. You never know. but it is creepy as shit. Now, Tartaria is going mainstream, everybody, which it should. It's our past. It's our history. That's where the truth is.
Current version of history that we've been told is not only incomplete, it's just wrong. It's just flat out wrong. Whether they were big civilizations in Illinois 10,000 years ago, which there were, by the way. How can we not know that? We sent a man to the moon, and you can't replicate the technology that created. You don't even have a good guess as to how they were built? We don't. We don't even know when they were built. But why would anyone care? For suggesting that our historical timelines were wrong, and there had in fact been advanced civilizations in earlier moments in time, and that they had been eliminated somehow through climactic events, through natural disasters, and that we're not aware of them in any detail. Kind of seems to be true. Well, why don't we know that? And what does it tell us about ourselves and about the past that we don't know? That's what I would think people would ask. I know that what I learned as a kid is wrong.
What do we know about ancient civilizations? And the answer is like basically nothing.
Did you read about Tartaria?
Oh, man. Now, if you really want to go down a rabbit hole, go and check out Roseanne, because I'm telling you, her and Jim Brewer. So if you want to listen to two people that are deep into all of this stuff, and I mean, Roseanne has gone on and called many of these people vampires and baby killers, and Brewer is definitely like, you know, don't believe conspiracy theories because, you know what I mean? And he just gives you all the reasons why you should believe. But they are two strong components, I believe, in all of this. Candace Owens is amazing. Tucker Carlson's getting, like, just phenomenal to listen to, because this is all so much closer to the truth than what we're being told, and that's what gets me excited. That gets me excited. The more people that are showing everybody about Tartaria in the past and what it was and why it's unexplainable, it's so much better than what they're telling us it is. It's so much better. It's so much better. And to understand that a civilization that was completely wiped out, to build a civilization that they could fully control, makes more sense to me. It makes more sense, everybody. It feels right. It feels right. You know, at the end of the day, if we don't all have a technical free will, I mean, I'm not going to be shocked. You know, I can only make the decisions with the things that I've been given. I would be able to make different decisions if I had different opportunities. But if they don't give me the opportunities, or they're not there anymore, I can only make so many decisions, right? So technically, I would believe that I'm thinking freely, but in actuality, I'm thinking exactly how they wanted us to. They've driven us into this direction. So, man, wow. Yes. I love the fact that it's becoming more mainstream. It should. It's our past. It's our history. It is the missing link. Now, this is wild. This is what the elite's been hiding from you. They tell you med beds are for science fiction, yet behind closed doors, the elite sleep in machines that can regenerate organs, reverse aging, and erase disease, while the public gets prescriptions. They get immortality trials. The question isn't if they exist, it's why you're not allowed to touch one. Now, it looks like an MRI machine. I do believe that these elites or whatever, I kind of thought it was more of a hypergenic, you know what I mean? The thing you get into and it creates the pressure of being on a mountain, which has great benefits. I was thinking it was more on those lines, but this thing is pretty wild, and I don't know. I can't say whether or not, you know, this is true or false, but I mean, I don't doubt it for one moment. And here we go.
A table that brightens up the chamber on the inside. The chamber is also light, which really helps to open up for the patient, right? So at this point, they're in all the way, and then we close the shell and we close the door. You cover that, it's over their legs, they don't really see that. It helps alleviate a lot of anxiety or that claustrophobia that patients experience. So if you walk this way, you can walk by the monitors.
Go both directions.
Oh yeah, you can go either way. You can see it moves. A lot better from staff. So feel free to walk all the way up to the system. You don't have to stay in the corners. You don't have to stay on the profile. Right now, you can walk all the way up. You can see all of the moving components, everything that's used to make the system work, to make the linear accelerator work, all mounted on one of these axes, and it rotates with the system.
What the hell? Well, that is not an MRI machine. Look at this thing. What is it doing, huh? It's just turning you.
It is very interstellar. Yes. And that was part of the idea, right? They didn't just want a machine that works. They wanted it to work, but they also wanted it to make easy the eye. Again, it's an experience for the patient, right? And we want it to be a positive one.
What the fuck, dude? Dude, it looked like it was turning her like, you know, like a pig on a rod on a grill. Just stuck inside of there. They say that, you know, hugging the legs makes you feel less claustrophobic. And then you see them walk around this machine, and it almost looks like the front of a spaceship. And it's just slowly turning, and it stops. And then it slowly turns another quarter, and it stops. And then another quarter, and stops. And there's somebody inside of that being turned and having some positive experience in there. Now, I don't know if this is doing what they say it's going to do, but if it is like I think it's a hyperbolic chamber, that's already creating a great amount of pressure, which is great for inflammation and stuff like that. So if it is along those lines for its operating purposes, then, I mean, you're going to get some really good benefits. Now, for everything else that it's supposed to do, reverse aging, erase disease, regenerate organs, I'd like to see the science on that, because I've never heard of this med bed in my life. Wild, dude. Wild. Med bed. Now, here you go. This thing is silly. I don't understand it. This is $1 million air car that will officially be available in 2026. Look at this stupid thing. I'm sorry. This is like one of the worst designs I've seen yet. It says I can play it, so let's check it out. And now you can see that the car is just flying in the air. It's going up. It's got a big old propeller. Looks like, yeah, on the back of it there. One propeller. Like, this is definitely the worst car I've seen yet. It doesn't even look like it's flying, does it? It looks like it's being pulled up on strings, everybody. Look at how uneven and wobbly that thing is. This has got to be fake. Okay, now I flipped the screen, and we get to see it fly even more, which almost looks like a continuation of the same video they keep showing me. I mean, the drone is more steady than this thing. And let's see here. You will never see this account again unless you follow us now. Oh, I don't know about that. So maybe, just maybe, this is all a gimmick for you to go to. So, this is the Klein Vision Air Car. Is a real-life flying car that can switch from sleek sports car to a light aircraft under 3 minutes. It has already completed successful test flights, including intercity trips across Slovakia, powered by a BMW engine and standard fuel. It's fully legal in both road and air travel. No sci-fi here. With a cruising speed of 155 miles an hour and a range of 620 miles, it's posed to revolutionize personal transportation. Expected to launch in early 2026, the air car will be priced between $800,000 and $1.2 million. This thing, I'm sorry, looks like a fucking POS, dude. It really does. It is not impressive looking at all. I really just wanted to put it up there because I wanted to laugh at it. I've put a lot of flying cars on this podcasts since they've been coming out with these things, and I really thought this was one of the worst looking ones. I thought it was the worst. Where are those wings gonna go? Right? Where do the wings go? Where does that? Where does the back wing go? Are you driving around on the street? Like, it looks like a fucking Roadrunner. And I'm not saying the Roadrunner was like a super ugly car, but it wasn't exactly ideal either. You know what I mean? So basically, you built a Roadrunner that can fly. And it's all electric, which already worries me because it runs off of regular fuel. But if they were to turn it into an electric vehicle, which they probably couldn't, batteries way too much, so they would have to leave it the way it is. But they're going to have a kill switch eventually. You're going to have a digital credit score in order to fly this thing. This is all happening. But this thing, I would not pay $800,000 or $1.2 million for it. It looks realistically like the worst flying car that has come out yet. All right, so let's check this out right here, man. These guys are great. I'm going to let this play and see where it takes us because I can't remember right now, everybody. Can't remember.
There's this article that came out 1934 in the LA Times, was called Lizard People's Catacomb City Hunted Underneath Los Angeles, California.
Shut up.
This man named G. Warren Schufelt, and he had developed this X-ray penetrating technology to where he could scan different rocks and stuff. He was in LA on this hill called Fort Moore Hill, and he drilled like 200 something feet down, stuck it down, and he's like, what the heck? He's like, there's tunnels, a lot of tunnels, and really big rooms and a lot of gold. So he went to Arizona and he met with, his name was Little Chief Greenleaf. This Hopi elder said, what you just discovered is one of 3 lost cities along the Pacific coast.
What?
He told about, it was this people group called the Lizard People, but they were called the Lizard People because their idol was a lizard. This was a civilization that was advanced technology-wise, that they had this chemical that they would use to basically bore out the tunnels. The Lizard People's city being amongst these certain hills that exactly line up to where this guy found the thing.
What happened to Schufelt?
They shut him down.
They shut him down. They showed his grave. Dude, that's crazy. So, lizard people, in that sense, are not shapeshifters. They were a group of people that idolized lizards. That makes way more sense to me than people actually becoming lizards, which does not sound correct to me at all. So, wow, imagine that. 3 lost cities of people who idolized lizards were lizard people, and he found in 1934, found them, and then, what, by 1940 something, he was dead. They shut him down. Why? Because they're hiding something. Now, if there is gold in those tunnels, where are those tunnels? And we're not the only ones to find this out, right? I want that gold. Man, today, that sounds really nice. But pretty fucking crazy, man. That, again, are you just hiding the history? Or are you hiding what's actually down there for yourselves? For when 8 billion go down to 500 million. Because you already know all this stuff, right? You know how to access it. You know how to get it. And that's all you guys are going to be doing. You're going to be under there, going through your tunnels that lead to all your tunnels, that lead to all the old tunnels, that leads to all the stuff. And you guys have been living underground for so long that this is going to be like another day for you, where the rest of us are going to be like, I don't know if I could do this, man. I don't know. I feel like I would get a little claustrophobic underground, but maybe not in the tunnels that are provided for us today, because you can fit aircraft carriers in them and shit. So I hope that there's some tunnels or something underground near me and I can find it if the day ever comes. But wild, dude. I'm telling you, we are on top of our history. We are literally on top of our past. It's all underneath us. They buried it. This one here I found was very interesting. She has a part 1, part 2, and part 3. I'm doing part 1 right now. I think we just need to give it a listen. Like I said, I'm starting to change my ways about these demons and angels and stuff like that. So let's just give this a listen.
Things that are actually demonic from an ex-witch. I see a lot of scaremongering going on in Christianity about so many things being demonic that in my opinion really are not. So as always, from my perspective, my opinion and my life, I'm going to tell you exactly what led me into witchcraft and what you need to stay away from. And believe me, some of these things you'd have no idea about. Absolutely anything that tries to tell your future. Anything. Even if something...
And if you didn't catch that, she used to be a witch. And now she's not. Because of these reasons. Okay?
As stupid as those little 8 balls. Me personally, I started really understanding my gift of future by using tools like playing cards and things like that. If you come across something that tries to tell you what your future is, that is not of God. And actually it's on a mission to deter you from God's plan. Alcohol, the biggest one, without a doubt, alcohol. There is a demon named alcohol. This demon talks about the absence of the soul, removing the soul from the body, and then allowing a demon to inhabit the body. Every single time in my past that I had a drink, I would be spiritually attacked to the next level. And even my friends as well, if you have a hangover, it's more than just a hangover, isn't it? You literally want to exit the... Alcohol is without a doubt one of the most demonic things on the planet. Could also argue that's why a lot of it is called spirit. Wine I feel slightly different about, obviously, is mentioned in the Bible quite a lot. Anything that leads you to intoxication or that you are not in control of your own body, demonic. This goes for a lot of medications as well. I'm not going to speak too deeply on that because, free speech and all. Anything that makes you feel like you are not in control of your own body, demonic doorway. Forms of thought control, and you'll be surprised at this. Absolutely anything or anyone that tries to prevent you from thinking, asking questions, delving into things. People in charge at the moment, if you catch my drift. The process of cognitive thinking was God-given for a reason. Absolutely anything that tries to stop you thinking or having your own mindset is completely and utterly demonic. That's where cults come from, because everybody has to have the same belief system. You'll notice this is why I go absolutely ham on specific Christians that don't let people ask questions about anything demonic. This one's going to ruffle some feathers, but the generalised school system. I don't need to go into too much detail there, do I? I'm just going to say one word: indoctrination. And also, it is a system that completely eradicates actual God gifts and instead breaks and moulds children to become part of a society that we know is functioning from the demonic. Absolutely any film whatsoever that talks about exorcism. When you watch a film that involves any form of demonic inhabitation or exorcism, you are watching that in real time. All you have to do really is look at the history of what happened to the cast of The Exorcist. These sort of movies are not just movies, they are literally playing out the demonic in front of your face. And it absolutely can invoke things into your home, which is why a lot of things happen after watching these sort of films. For me, there is a huge difference between a horror fantasy and actual real life exorcism. Gossip, without a doubt, gossip is one of the most demonic things on the planet. And it is all kick-started from a demon, and it grows and becomes gang stalking. Get yourself away from any kind of position of gossip. Particular music festivals can be harvested of energy. Travis Scott's one was a perfect example. Any kind of themes of dark, low red light, you already know. Low vibrational tones, demonic tones. Any kind of music that uses repetition, because this is what witchcraft is, it's repetition. I know a lot of people say this song's demonic. No, you need to pay attention to where something repeats. The same word, the same ideology, the same behaviour. You need to look for the repetition. Obviously, tarot cards, witchcraft, spells, Ouija boards, massive. All of these things give a direct gateway to demons. Arguing and fighting, huge gateway. So when I say to you that something isn't demonic, I'm not saying that it's good. Pay attention to how something makes you feel. That is the core under everything. How does it make you feel? If it feels like a no, it's a no. Anyway, this is just part 1. I'll do part 2 soon. God bless.
And the reason I played that for the most part is the alcohol part. It is terrible. It's definitely been called spirits for a reason. There is a reason I do not feel the same without it as I did with it. I don't feel, it's not that I felt possessed, but I did not feel myself. And, maybe there is something to allowing demons into your body because of the toxicity of the alcohol. I don't know if that's all 100%, but what I will tell you is life without it is so much better. It's so much better, everybody. I do believe it's an actual poison, and I do believe the future will back me up on this. I think with the population, the way it's going, the way alcohol is demonized today by the young, I just think you're going to see a complete change in society where alcohol becomes the less than. To a point in time to where it is then abolished. And, maybe abolishing alcohol wasn't just about the simple fact that they figured out we could turn it into fuel, but it was because enough people were standing behind the alcohol and realizing that it was destroying lives, and there was a real reason behind it. And unfortunately, the people in charge were the ones that brought it back because they lost the control during Prohibition. I think there's a lot of both of those scenarios in Prohibition. I think it was more than, but that's just my theories and my thoughts. But of course, all of this has been for entertainment purposes only. And once again, I do want to say thank you to all of my subscribers out there. You are the reason I keep coming back week after week. Of course, if you're new, make sure to subscribe. Want an opportunity to tell your story or be a guest on the podcast, talkinwithtopher@gmail.com. Send an audio, video, or type it out. Linktree is in the description below the video, along with all links discussed in this podcast today. Don't forget about the mailbox, guys, and of course, Cryptid and Kin. And I hope everybody out there enjoys the rest of their Thursday. I hope you have an amazing rest of your weekend. And as always, I will talk to you next week.